Okay, hello friends. Welcome to the pharmacology session. And today, continuing the discussion on cholinergic drugs. Yesterday we said that in the neostigmine, pyridostigmine, if you want the effects of these drugs to be, if you don't want, I would say like this, if you don't want the muscarinic effects, if you don't want the M1, M2, M3 effects, what you will give? You will give along with neostigmine, pyridostigmine, we have to give atropine. We have to give atropine so that atropine is a muscarinic blocker and it can block the muscarinic receptors so that you could have only the action of nicotine because these are having both nicotinic as well as muscarinic action. So that's why you are using for the use of myasthenia gravis, cobra bite, reversing that non-depolarizing muscle relaxants. You are giving those atropine with it. While as if you want a muscarinic action of neostigmine, pyridostigmine, for example, in the post-operative paralytic ileus, for example, post-operative urinary retention, you will be giving it without atropine because you right now want the muscarinic effect, isn't it? You right now want the muscarinic effect. Next drug that was in that list was edrophonium. Edrophonium is basically a short acting anti-cholinesterase. It's a synthetic one. It's a synthetic one. What is the use of edrophonium? Its best use is to diagnose myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis. See, in myasthenia gravis, you have an autoimmune condition in which the receptors are being attacked by the antibodies. And they are destroying them. We are covering them, not destroying. They're covering them, and they are not allowing the acetylcholine to, isn't it? Do you know the pathology of myasthenia gravis? Yeah, pathology of myasthenia gravis. Yes. So what will happen finally is you will be having that muscular weakness, isn't it? You'll be having that muscular weakness. Okay. See, edrophonium we are giving IV. We are giving this drug IV, and since it's a short acting, less than 10 minutes. Okay. Now, edrophonium. What is edrophonium? What is edrophonium? It is a anticholinesterase. That means it will inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme. That means it will improve the acetylcholine at the junction. That means it will improve the person for those 10 minutes. That means it will improve the relaxation, that conduction of that muscle in those minutes, isn't it? Okay. But if I tell you I have a condition in which I have a ACH crisis. If I have an ACH crisis, if I have a cholinergic crisis, what will happen? Choline is already there. Acetylcholine is already there. You are not letting that choline to get destroyed. You are not letting that choline to get destroyed because you have given an anticholinesterase. Means you are increasing the acetylcholine again. Means you are worsening the condition. So there are two things. One is you are diagnosing whether it is a myasthenia gravis or not. Whether it's some myasthenia gravis or not. This test is known as Tensilon test. This test is called Tensilon test. What is Tensilon test? Tensilon test is basically, why it is called Tensilon test? Yeah? Yes. Yes, Fabina, why it's called a Tensilon test? Sunana, yes. Why called a Tensilon test? Yes. Yes, please. Why no, sir? It's so easy. Tensilon is basically the brand name of edrophonium. Okay. So it's basically, we say tensilon test is an ameliorative test. But beautifully it was writing in the Goodman and Gilman, ameliorative test for myasthenia gravis. Ameliorative, that means I am relieving the symptoms. I am relieving the symptoms of myasthenia gravis. So that means why I am relieving? Because sir, edrophonium is an anticholinesterase. It is an anticholinesterase. So once I give an anticholinesterase, what will happen? I will be increasing the amount of ACH, which means I will be improving the condition, improving the weakness, improving the weakness, isn't it? So what happens? See how to diagnose now. You are giving this 2 mg of edrophonium IV. You are giving this edrophonium as IV. Okay, we gave 2 mg of edrophonium IV, and then what happened? It will cause, if it causes two things, if it causes relief or it worsens. If it relieves, myasthenia gravis. If it worsens, cholinergic crisis. No law medicine. Cholinergic crisis. Cholinergic crisis. So I want to ask from you people, what is the provocative test for myasthenia gravis? Yes, if you read books, if you read notes, then yeah, definitely you will not answer. But if you are reading books, then yeah, you will answer it. What is provocative test for myasthenia gravis? Should read books, guys. You should read books. You are very much weak in pharmacology. Yeah. What is provocative, and also physiology? What is provocative test for myasthenia gravis? It is tuberculin test. Okay. It was to be, we used to use that provocative test for myasthenia gravis. What is that? D tuberculin. What we do is we used to inject 0.5 mg of D tuberculin IV. What it cost? D-tuberculin decreases the ACH. It's a NM blocker. It's an NM blocker. So it decreases the ACH action, and what will happen? You will have worsening of MG. You will have worsening of MG. The reason we are not using, it's not used now to test these things, because it can cause respiratory arrest. The diaphragmatic muscles can get into arrest, respiratory arrest. And since we have tensilon, a very safe test, so yeah, tensilon can tell us what it is, whether it is a cholinergic crisis or whether it's a myasthenia gravis. Fine. This is how we understand physiology. Done? Okay, fine. There is another drug, is Tacrin. Tacrin is drug of choice for Alzheimer's. Tacrin is drug of choice for Alzheimer's. Fine. But we are not using it. We are not using it. Yes, my dear, it will worsen. Okay. It will worsen. You should read the book, What Does the Crisis and Worsening Mean? Okay. Fine. You have a confusion in words. Okay. So, drug of choice for Alzheimer's is Tacrin. Drug of choice for Alzheimer's is Tacrin, but we are not using it. We prefer now new drugs, donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. Why? Donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. Why? Donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. Why? Why? So the reason is that, you know, how to say, because see, I will tell you like this. Once if we had to give tacrine, what it caused, it led to, we had to, dose it frequently. Exactly. It used hepatotoxicity. It causes diarrhea. And the problem is that we have some problems, that is we have to give it frequently. The dosing intervals are frequent. Due to that reason, we are giving it donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. We are using that. Okay. Donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. Okay. So we don't want that frequent dosing. And the reason, another reason I can give you is these drugs, they will get 99% concentrated in the brain. Okay. So mostly lipid soluble. That's why I told you Alzheimer's group yesterday. Okay. Fine. Clear. So how I remember is rivastigmine. Rivastigmine. We are using it for Alzheimer's dementia, the memory loss, Alzheimer's dementia, and Parkinson's disease. How I remember, Riva means revive my memory. Revive my memory. This is my mnemonic. This is my mnemonic. Revive my memory. Rivastigmine. Revive my memory. Fine. Okay. So see, guys. What was the use of physostigmine? Physostigmine is the drug of choice for atropine poisoning. Atropine poisoning. Okay, because atropine is a muscarinic blocker and blocks the muscarinic receptor and can also reach the brain. By the way, why we are using this? Yes, who can tell us? See, if I tell you the pharmacokinetics, people are not answering. Okay. Yeah, that's it. But bye bye. Because see, if I talk about physostigmine has a pharmacokinetic property. Let me tell you that property. Physostigmine has a pharmacokinetic property. What happens is it is having a 50-50% relationship. 50-50% relationship. What is that 50-50% relationship? That means 50% goes into the brain and 50% goes to the periphery. Okay. Fine. Now, in the brain, where you are having more amount of acetylcholine. What is the function of acetylcholine in the brain? It is helping in the memory. It is helping in the memory. So memory means Maynard. Memory means Maynard. So nucleus of Maynard. We have nucleus of Maynard. Nucleus of Maynard. M for memory, M for Maynard. We have nucleus there. So this Maynard, once you are progressing with age or in the patients of Alzheimer's dementia or senile dementia, this is getting degenerated. Okay, there is degeneration of basal nucleus. Basically, it was known as the basal nucleus of Maynard. It was known as basal nucleus of Maynard. Basal nucleus of Maynard, and it was getting degenerated, and we were having memory problems. So what we did is we gave this. What happens? It increases the acetylcholine in the brain. Okay, but reason is that what will happen if you want only the memory action? You only want the memory action. Do you want muscarinic action? Because it's going periphery, muscarinic, M1, M2, M3 activity. Do you want this action? No, you don't want this action. So do you want, what do you do? So that means if I am giving this 50%, it will go to the brain. Next 50% will go to these receptors. What will happen? M1 receptor stimulation will lead to M1 effects. M2 stimulation will lead to M2 effects, bradycardia. M3 stimulation will lead to other things, diuresis, diarrhea, isn't it? Fine. So what we do is we are giving what? We are giving this tacrine in case of memory problems also. Okay. In case of memory problem also. Okay, friends. So remember this point that we don't want the muscarinic effects. That's why we have changed this drug with tacrine. Okay. But tacrine has another side effect. What's a hepatotoxic short acting? Hepatotoxic short acting. Again, change that with the brain. In the brain, change that concept to donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. So you have to play with yourself. Okay. So how you have to play? First you said, sir, I want to revive the memory. I want to revive the memory. I want to give physostigmine. But sir, physostigmine has a problem. 50% there, 50% there. What to do? Change to tacrine. No, tacrine has short acting hepatotoxic. What to do? Donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine. No hepatotoxicity. And even longer acting than the atropine, tacrine. Fine. Okay. So if they ask you what drugs are you giving in the treatment of myasthenia gravis, what you should write? Neostigmine, neopyrido. You are using this in the treatment of, you are giving in the treatment of myasthenia gravis. Hydrophonium, diagnosis of myasthenia gravis. This is what you have to remember. Treatment of myasthenia gravis, neopyrido. Diagnosis of myasthenia gravis, hydrophonium. You know, there are also some muscle relaxants. I told you. You know the muscle relaxants. I will write some muscle relaxants for you. Etracuronium, pancuronium. For example, these two muscle relaxants you have, what they are doing is they are blocking the neuromuscular NM activity. They are blocking the NM activity. They are blocking the NM activity. Do you want to reverse them after you want to regain that muscle contractility? For example, you had given these drugs to the patient who was going to OT for surgery. So what you will do? You will treat this with neostigmine, or you can also give what? Pyridostigmine. What they will do? They will increase the amount of ACH. What they will do? They will cause muscle contraction. But still, I have to give atropine with advisor. I don't want that muscarinic effect also. Is it clear? I don't want the muscarinic effect. I only want the muscle. I only want the muscle to get activated, not muscarinic effect. Fine. Finished. Is it clear? Okay. So let me go to the next part of that table. The table we had was, we will go into the irreversible anticholinesterases. Anticholinesterases. See, irreversible anticholinesterases, if I talk, we said it has what? Yeah, who can tell me? Who can tell me that table? Who remembers that table from the previous discussions? We have DC Murtha Patesdan. That is, if I go like this and go like this, how will I remember? Diazinon, chlorpyrifos, ethiopiate, parathion, malathion, taubun, serin, soman. Nerve gases, isn't it? Nerve gases. This is nerve gases. Taubun, serin, soman. So I have taught you in the first video. You have to check that. Okay. So Before this topic, we were discussing reversible anticholinesterases. Right now, we are discussing irreversible anticholinesterases. Okay. Now, this contains those organophosphates. These are all organophosphates, and it contains carbamates. Carbamates were what? CAP, carbolide, propoxor. Do we remember? Exactly. Very good. Okay. So let me write like this. Are they lipid soluble? Are they lipid soluble, guys? Yes, they are very much lipid soluble. What they will do, they will inhibit the acetylcholine esterase. Once they inhibit the acetylcholine esterase, what will happen? They will increase the amount of acetylcholine esterase. Once they increase the amount of acetylcholine esterase, that means all the effects of acetylcholine esterase inhibition will start coming. So it will lead to acetylcholine esterase poisoning. What are the symptoms of acetylcholine esterase poisoning? Dumbbells, famous mnemonic, dumbbells. Dumbbells are the symptoms of acetylcholine esterase inhibition poisoning. Acetylcholine esterase inhibition poisoning. That means if I am inhibiting the acetylcholine esterase, I am increasing the amount of acetylcholine. I can also say these are cholinomimetic poisoning. Cholinomimetic poisoning. So you will have what? What you will have? So you have diarrhea, urination, meiosis, bronchoconstriction, emesis, lacrimation, salivation. Okay, dumbbells is a famous word. Diarrhea, urination, meiosis. What else? Bronchoconstriction, emesis. What is emesis? Vomiting. Lacrimation, salivation. You can say these are the dumbbells poisoning. Dumbbells will show you this effect. Dumbbells. Okay. Bronchoconstriction, bradycardia, hypotension, coma. No, so many things. Hypotension, coma. Okay, fine. Is it clear, friends? So see, look at me. Okay, just have a look at me. So see, you have all these effects. You have all these effects. Okay, just a second. You have all these effects. So what will happen? You will be having the symptoms of acetylcholine esterase poisoning. So how will you treat this patient? Atropine is the drug of choice. Atropine. Atropine is the antidote of choice actually. Because it's a poisoning. Antidote of choice for what? If you have organophosphate poisoning or you have carbamate poisoning. Atropine can be used. So do you want this enzyme to be reactivated now or not? Guys, do you want to reactivate this enzyme or not? You have actually inhibited this enzyme. Do you want it activated? Reactivation, yes. So we will give enzyme reactivators. We will give enzyme reactivators. So I have to give what? Enzyme reactivators. Enzyme reactivators will be oximes. What? Oximes. They have the word in there and oximes. So oximes. Which oximes? Pralidoxim. Pralidoxim. Ovidoxim. Diacetyl monooxim, DAM. Isn't it? We call it PAM and DAM. Diacetyl monooxim. D. D for B. D for B. D for B. P for P. P for periphery. D for B. B for both. It can go both what? In and periphery. Okay, fine. Now where will you give this? What they will do? They will regenerate your acetylcholinesterase. They will regenerate your acetylcholinesterase. Once you have an OP poisoning, you will be able to regenerate the acetylcholinesterase. But you don't have to, please write with red pen. It is contraindicated. What? Oximes are contraindicated in carbamate poisoning. Remember, in case of carbamate poisoning, these are contraindicated. Okay, so if you have a patient who has two things, remember, muscle weakness, respiratory depression, not distress depression. Someone has respiratory depression or muscle weakness, give Oxim. Give Oxim. Okay, now this organ, this acetylcholine, okay, enzyme, what happens is it has some sites. Let me show you. This is an enzyme. Now it has site. It has an anionic site. It has a static site. Anionic site. Anionic site. And a static site. Now this anionic site and static site, this is your acetylcholinesterase, isn't it? This is your acetylcholinesterase, isn't it? It's that enzyme. Now see what will happen. Now the oximes, now this is the normal site. This is your normal site, okay? This is your normal site. Organophosphates bind to this site. Organophosphate binds to this site. Here is the place where OP will bind. OP binds to this site, okay? Only this site, fine? OP binds to this site. Easy, I'm saying slowly. OP binds to asteretic site. But problem is that if I take the another diagram, let me use this diagram to save the time, okay? Yeah, I want to save the time. So see guys, what happens is the carbamates, they will bind to what? Let me take another color. Carbamates will bind to both the sides. Carbamates bind to both the sides, asteretic as well as anionic site. So carbamates, both sides. Carbamates occupy both sides. Is it clear? Carbamates bind to both sides. I'm saying slowly because some people telling me to speak slowly. Carbamates bind to both the sides. Asteretic site, anionic site. Organophosphate only asteretic site. Only asteretic site. Now can you give carbamates in this poisoning? Can you give in carbamate poisoning? Can you give oximes? No, sir. How can I give? Both the sides are, isn't it? Both the sides are occupied. Fine. So let us write like this. So why contraindicated? Why enzyme reactivators, oximes are contraindicated in, why they are contraindicated in carbamate poisoning? Two reasons. Number one, carbamates are occupying both sites, that is esteratic site and anionic site. Okay. Second, they are weak acetylcholine esterase inhibitors. They are weak acetylcholine esterase inhibitors. So never give them in carbamate poisoning. Never give them in carbamate poisoning. Okay. Now, if I tell you, I give you 3 drugs, guys. Are you listening or not? So slowly I'm telling you. I'm giving you 3 drugs. DAM, PAM, obidoxim. You should choose. Once I tell you, I want to regenerate the acetylcholinesterase enzyme in the brain, you should take this. What? Take this. It can nicely regenerate the acetylcholinesterase in the brain. These both cannot. Why? Sir, they don't cross BBB. They don't cross BBB. They don't cross BBB. This beautifully crosses the BBB. Do you know why it was an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor? Why OP is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor? In what way? What is the reason that you are saying organophosphate is a acetylcholinesterase inhibitor? I am asking a question. In what way you are asking that organophosphate is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor? Looking at this diagram, use an LKG concept. The concept is that you are not able to break down the acetylcholine. You cannot break the acetylcholine. That is the concept you have to say. You are not able to break the acetylcholine. You forget everything. No. Acetylcholine is not able to get broken down. You are not able to break down the acetylcholine. That's why it is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. The reasons should be understood. Organophosphate is binding to the esteric site, serine site of this, acetylcholinesterase enzyme. Acetylcholine is not being. So you have to choose this diacyl monoxine for if you want the brain action. Okay. Now I want you to, in short, write some. First, I want to tell you that if you are not able to treat the patient of organophosphate poisoning, if you are not able to manage him, what will happen? Due to this chronic exposure, the person can land into delayed neuropathy. What I'm talking about organophosphate poisoning. If there is organophosphate poisoning and you are not able to, it's he's going to he's chronically exposed to that. What you will do? What will happen? This person will have delayed neuropathy. That is, after 2 weeks, he will be coming to us with demyelination disorder. Demyelination disorder. Okay, fine. So, example, chemical triorthoglycyl phosphate. Maybe some time back, once you go for a car repair, they change that lubricating oils. So we may have read in the ingredients it's present in that oils. Maybe someone took that and then will come to this. And remember, it's not because it's inhibiting the acetylcholinesterase. This will be inhibiting NTE. What is NTE? Neuropathy target esterase. Neuropathy target esterase. It is due to this inhibition of neuropathy target esterase that you are going to have delayed neuropathy. What else can happen? There are so many syndromes. Intermediate syndrome can happen. Okay. So if they ask you what happens if we inhibit NTE, if we inhibit NTE, we will have delayed neuropathy. If we inhibit cholinesterase, what we will have? Intermediate syndrome. So this is how we can remember. If we inhibit cholinesterase, what will happen? Intermediate syndrome. Intermediate syndrome. Fine. Okay. Is it clear? So I want you to take some take-home points. Take-home revision points. If you want me, I can give you take-home revision points for cholinergics. Okay. Number 1, cholinesters do not cross blood-brain barrier. Second point. What else we had read? Pilocarpine and nicotine, they cross BBB. Third, bethanicol. Remember bethanicol used for GIT and urinary, isn't it? Then we read what? Glaucoma. Which drug to use glaucoma? Pilocarpine. Which drug for Sjogren syndrome? Cevimeline. Fine. And pilocarpine also to increase the salivary secretions. Are you right? Yeah. Antidote for muscarinic agonist poisoning. Muscarinic agonist poisoning is atropine, isn't it? Fine. Adrophonium competes with acetylcholine at acetylcholinesterase enzyme. Important. Competitive. What is the bond? Question. What is the bond formed between carbamates and acetylcholinesterase enzyme? Covalent bond. Covalent bond is found between acetylcholinesterase and carbamates. Okay. Which stigmines cross BBB? Which stigmines cause BBB cross BBB? Physoriva. They cross BBB. Which stigmines do not cross BBB? Neopyrido do not cross BBB. Physoriva cross BBB. Neopyrido do not cross BBB. What else we can recapitulate, guys? What else? What can be reactivating? What can be reactivate? Or how to reactivate acetylcholinesterase in case of OP poisoning? Doxims. And if you want to reactivate the brain enzyme, which auxin? DAM. DAM in brain. Are we writing the important points or not? You should not star it. You should write it in a box because you are preparing for license exams. Write it in the box so that before 5 days before the full entry test you can revise them. You know the story at the back. Okay. Which drugs for myasthenia gravis? Drugs, not diagnosis. It will confuse you. What drugs you can use for myasthenia gravis? Neostigmin, pyridostigmin, hydrophonium. Wrong answer. Hydrophonium is for diagnosis. Preferably the answer should be diagnosis. Okay. Fine. If I want to stimulate nicotinic receptors, only, you tell me true or false. Should I pre-treat the person with atropine? Should be atropinize the patient so that I can get an action? Beautiful answer. NM action. Beautiful answer. Write a question. What is depolarizing blockade? Depolarizing blockade, guys. Answer. If you increase the dosages of ACH, you will desensitize the receptors. Write like the way I'm writing. Don't write English stories. Write the way I'm writing. Increased ACH causes desensitization of nicotinic receptors. This is called depolarizing blockade. Are we clear? Can we understand the blockade? Yes, it's happening as a blockade. Okay. So write a box. Write a box. Write a box, guys. Mad as a hatter. Mad as a hatter. Dry as a bone. Blind as a bat. You listen to English songs, I listen to these things. Blind as bat. Red as a beet. What else? Hot as hell. Heart goes on alone. What is this? What is this? This we'll be learning tomorrow. Okay. So thank you very much. See you all. Take care. Bye bye. Mad as a hatter. Dry as a bone. Blind as a bat. Red as a beet. Hot as a hell. Head goes on alone. Heart goes on alone. Fine. Now, yeah, I forgot to tell you something else before saying thank you. I want to tell you some 2 points which I forgot to tell you. How to diagnose bronchial hyperreactivity. How to diagnose bronchial hyperactivity. Methacholine. Methacholine challenge test. Okay. How to treat. Which drugs can you use for post-op? Which drugs can you use for post-operative paralytic ileus? Bethanicol, neostigmin. Which drugs you can use for post-op urinary retention? Bethanicol, neostigmin. Bethanicol, neostigmin. Is it clear, friends? Write down this in your notebook also. Okay. If you don't remember the glaucoma drug, you can remember it by PAP. PAP for glaucoma. PAP is pilocarpine, ecothiopate, physostigmine. Pilo, echo, physo. Used for glaucoma. Okay. And remember that drug, atropine poisoning. What you give? Physostigmine. Physostigmine for atropine poisoning. Fine. So now I want to say thank you. See you all tomorrow with a new topic. Take care, stay safe in Corona. Bye bye.